Trailblazers. This is a spicy video. I feel it, you feel it, everyone feels it. This is a spicy one, okay? And we're starting off on this slide. The reason I decided to make this is because I've been seeing a lot of people say, oh, Sparkle is OP, Sparkle is broken, even though her official numbers haven't came out yet. All we have is just the preliminary numbers on the Hoyo lab and just some preliminary assumptions on things. But people are saying she's broken, she's OP, which is completely justified, right? Just using that information, we can really compare them with other characters existing in the game right now with like defined numbers and stuff like that. So that's completely fine. But I'm here to just say that they're wrong, because even without these concrete numbers, I can 100% say that she's worse than Bronya, a free unit once you get to 300 standard wishes, right? Or if you just lose 50-50s and happen to get Bronya. So she is objectively worse, and this video is here. This video is created, birthed, with the purpose of explaining why I think that and why it is true. Even though the data is not out yet. So let's get into it. Oh, and by the way, I created this masterpiece here on my own. It's pretty smart, right? It's like Sparkle. She has a mask, right? She's a mask fool, but the mask is a copium mask because she's coping that she's... Okay, so all of these facts and hard data is based on this Hoyo Lab character preview that just dropped. This is official, and it goes over her traces, her skills, her technique, her alt, and all those things, right? There are no concrete and solid numbers, but that doesn't matter because she's clearly weaker than Bronya already. So for those of you who don't really know her kit, to quickly summarize, she gives a lot of crit damage, it seems, and attack percent and damage percent bonuses on top of skill point regeneration and also action advance, which only Bronya does currently. And that's why a lot of people are comparing her to Bronya, because there can only be one strong and bestest harmony support in the game. That's a fact. And obviously they're wrong. I mean, just look at Sparkle's skill, for example. It says here she increases the crit damage of a target ally for a certain number of turns and also action advances the ally, right? Sounds nice in theory. Bronya gives damage percent and action advances the ally, but you might not notice, but on the live stream, they said that Sparkle would be like a mini Bronya action advance. Not sure the exact word they used, but it was something like a smaller Bronya action advance, which would suggest that it would be a smaller percent of action forward. Since Bronya gives 100%, I'm assuming that Sparkle gives anywhere between 30 to 50% or somewhere around there, right? A safe bet would be 50% action advance, which would be half the potency of Bronya's. But then you might say, okay, well, but she gives a lot of crit damage. Well, Bronya also gives crit damage. And so I think that pretty much cancels it out, right? Bronya gives crit damage with her alt. Sparkle does with her skill. Sparkle gives skill points though with her alt. And you might say, okay, wow, that is insane, because what's Bronya's one problem, right? If you don't play Bronya properly, you would say Bronya's one problem is that she uses too much skill points. Well, Sparkle's alt gives skill points, so you won't have that problem with Sparkle. It's almost like Bronya created the problem and then Sparkle fixed it. Well, is it really a fix of a problem if the problem didn't exist to begin with? Well, we will go over this later, but I think Bronya's strength doesn't lie in her skill. And if you play her correctly, you won't be running out of skill points. Even without her signature light cone, even without her E1, which everybody says is OP or whatever. We'll go over why later. But for now, let's look at Sparkle's talent real quick. She gives damage percent every time an ally consumes skill points. Well, obviously this is bad because Jing Liu, literally the second best character in the game right now, only consumes skill points like one time every 3 turns. And so this damage percent doesn't look too nice. It says damage percent for all allies, but then again, you know, like you only run one main DPS most of the time. So I don't think this is that effective and good of a talent. And of course, the basic attack is basic. With that said, now let's get to the juicy part. The part where I think gets interesting, her traces, right? To go with her basic attack, her basic attack additionally generates energy whenever she uses it. Well, it sounds nice, right? Like more energy generation, you can use alt more often, until you think about the fact that her whole character is marketed around spamming skills, right? You spam E with her, and so your carries take more turns, and then you ultimate with her. So you don't ever run out of skill points, right? If you basic attack with her, you're generating skill points. Why would you need to alt and have your alt be an alt that generates skill points if you're already generating skill points? It doesn't make sense. Her kit is to use E, and she can always use E because she will have skill points, because her alt will generate skill points, right? Obviously, we don't know the number of skill points she'll generate yet because this is preliminary info with no solid numbers, but it's enough to make my conclusion that this trace is useless because we'll never basic attack with her. Basically, a useless negative trace that no one will use unless you just want to see Sparkle kick things, which is fair. You know, she has a nice kick, good form. Now, I'll quickly talk about the third trace because I think the second trace is actually not that bad, but the third trace is horrendous, right? And that's because Sparkle really shows her true colors here. She's a mono quantum saleswoman, okay? Yes, it's nice, increases all allies attack. All allies, once again, isn't that useful because we are in a mono hyper carry like setup. This is useless trace. Additionally, increases the attack of quantum type allies based on the amount of quantum type characters in the team, okay? So there's so much value based on this quantum type thing. I'm assuming that the base attack she gives allies will be less than the attack she gives allies when there are quantum allies in the team. So this is really telling because if you think about it, the mono quantum team archetype is really spearheaded, really enabled by the unit Silverwolf, which is really conveniently a limited 5-star character that Hoyoverse wants to sell. So this is really scummy behavior. I feel like if you don't have Silverwolf, running Mono Quantum is kind of like weird. Mono Quantum may as well be called a Silverwolf team, basically. It is super scummy that they're doing this. And if you're not running Mono Quantum because you like to play the game and adapt to situations based on your different elements that you have, this is another pretty much wasted trace because not all characters scale that well on attack as well. Even if you're using a non-quantum type character and you'd think, okay, I get the flat attack increase that it gives everyone. Well, Blade doesn't benefit that much from the attack. And we all know that Blade is the best character, highest damage dealing character in the game. So it's so weird, right? Anyway, 2 useless talents, but the third one, talent number 2 in the middle here, is actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good because the crit damage boost effect provided by the skill now will be extended until the start of the target's next turn, which means our favorite character that doesn't do damage, Jingyuan, will be able to buff his Lightning Lord. That is something that Bronya couldn't do before, and now Sparkle can help boost Lightning Lord, and surely this will bring Jingyuan into the S tier for units, right? Right? Surely he won't still be trash like he's always been and can never do damage, right? Anyway, I approve. Pull if you're a Jingyuan main, I guess. I don't know. So we take all of that and put it together. What do we get? What do we get? We get a character that has 2 useless traces, a character that solves a non-existent problem in skill points, and a character that tries to be like Bronya, but only has a mini version of Bronya's best thing, her action advance. And yeah, sure, she has crit damage, and yeah, sure, she will boost the damage percent and attack percent of your team, but that's stuff that Bronya already does. And once again, I have to say, she's a free unit. Just do 300 standard wishes. It's not that hard, just do it. Easy, okay? And now let's talk about why Bronya is so good compared to her. You might think all of these like, oh, like, sure, okay, maybe you would say she's weak in this regards, but Bronya isn't that much stronger compared to her. You might even say Bronya isn't strong compared to her. Sparkle will break the game. Well, I'm sorry to break the news to you. She actually is. Okay, I know this is a lot of text on the screen, but I'll talk you through my thoughts. Starting with the traces, since we so heavily focused on it with Sparkle. Let's start with Military Might. When Bronya is on the field, all allies deal 10% more damage. That is already so much better than Sparkles, because first of all, you don't have to use skill points. So characters like Jingliu just benefit instantly, and it is great. You don't have to use skill points. It is in a trace instead of in your talent. So that is immense value already. And the fact that this is not a wasted talent is amazing already. Another unconditional thing, at the start of the battle, all allies' defense increases by 20% for 2 turns. Okay, this is massive. You don't know how many times this probably saved countless number of endgame players when they were trying to do 0 cycles. This 2 turns is basically the whole fight if you're trying to do 0 cycles, right? And having that increased defense is amazing because Bronya basically with 1 trace replaces the need for a sustain. That's why characters like Luocha, Fuxuan, Huohuo are pretty bad when you get to the end game, because such OP characters with OP traces like Bronya exist. This 20% defense can make you live just enough so you can one-shot the boss, 0 cycle, get your clear, get your clip, post on YouTube, and feel good about yourself before needing any sort of sustain unit. Saves you so much Jade, saves you so much pulls. This is honestly one of the biggest reasons Bronya is OP. I don't see any kind of defensive utility like this on Sparkle for 0 cycle players, which are the right way to play, by the way. You have to 0 cycle if you want to be a good player in this game. Sorry to break it to you. It is what it is. Don't stress out about it though. If you're not there yet, you'll get there. It is what it is. But not only that, command this trace over here. Crit rate for basic attack increases to 100%. Okay, so obviously how big of a buff this is depends on your current crit rate on your relics, but assume you roll perfectly like you should on your relics, and you have only 5% crit rate on Bronya because that's the base. That is 95% crit rate for your basic attack increase. And if you convert that into crit value that everyone loves, by the way, everyone loves crit value, you convert that, that is 190% crit value. 190% crit value on a trace. Yo, guys. Jingliu has 100 crit value, 100 crit value on her trace, and everyone's like, oh, that's OP. Yeah, sure, it comes with a bit of attack as well, right? But her, not even trace, on her talent, Jingliu has 100 crit value. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's OP. That's so much better for her. You can build her so much easier. Why does no one say that about Bronya? Is that because she's a free unit? Is that because they think she's boring? Is that because she is an orphan? I don't know. I don't know why people don't see this. This is 190 crit value for Bronya. And once you start taking advantage of this, because clearly they want you to take advantage of it, seeing as though we get wind damage boost traces and the crit damage traces, right, on her, and effect resistance so that she doesn't get staggered and she can constantly shoot her rifle. Once we account for all of that and realize that she's a character made to do damage, 109% crit value is insane. You always crit. You don't have to care about consistency or whatnot because you'll always be consistent and you'll be hitting those big numbers. And this is the main reason why she's better than Sparkle, apart from the fact that she's free after 300 pulls. This is the main reason why she's better than Sparkle. She does damage. She's a support that brings your DPS up to do damage, but she can do same amount of damage, if not more, than your DPS. It depends how well the DPS is built and depends how well she is built, but she can hit juicy 10k numbers, 15k with just a basic generating skill points, giving you energy, moving fast. It is frankly insane. It is out of this world. It is insane. And this is the reason also why I was saying that Sparkle solves a problem that doesn't exist. Because Bronya, when played well, doesn't consume skill points. In fact, she generates skill points. That's why Bronya's light cone, I don't really understand, is really counterintuitive. But Sparkle's light cone though, this one here, Earthly Escapade, could be Bronya's new best in slot light cone. And this is the part of the video where I shift the focus and talk about reasons you can pull Sparkle and reasons you can pull a light cone, right? Bronya is really good with the light cone. Increases Rare's crit damage, increases crit rate of everyone on the team and crit damage of everyone on the team as well. Bronya doesn't benefit from the crit rate, but she benefits from the crit damage. She can hit maybe 18k, 20k at high investment on the crits now with this light cone. It will be insane. It will be insane. But the more insane part is what no one is talking about. Sparkle's true value. I'm not saying she's trash, right? By all means, pull her if you want. I'm sure you know that already. If you like a character, pull them. This video isn't to discourage you. Probably should have said it at the start. But for meta reasons purely, Sparkle should be paired with Bronya. And you might be thinking to yourself, oh yeah, that makes sense, right? Why have one Bronya when you can have two Bronyas, even though Sparkle is a weaker Bronya? Right? Like you can have double action advance, you can have double crit damage, you can have even more skill points, not that you need it. You can have double damage percent, attack percent. It will be insane. It will be juicy. It will be so good. Sparkle will move first, bring your DPS up to take a turn, then Bronya will move, and then take your DPS up to take a turn, even though that's not the optimal playstyle. You could also play it optimally and also just do basic attacks for even more damage, but that is not the correct way to play her. And in fact, the undoubtedly best way to is this. So you see Bronya's ultimate? It increases the crit damage of allies equal to Bronya's crit damage, right? That means the more crit damage she has, the bigger of a buff she gives to allies, including Sparkle if she's on your team. And guess what Sparkle does when she uses her E? Oh, that's right. She increases the crit damage of an ally and actions advance them. So, isn't this an infinite money glitch? You just use Sparkle on Bronya, give her a bunch of crit damage. Bronya ults, gives your allies a bunch of crit damage, which Sparkle also benefits from. It is a win-win. It is a win-win, and then Bronya can then pop off with her enhanced basic attacks, and now maybe she hits 25k, 30k enhanced basic attacks on enemies. It will absolutely shatter the game. It is insane. Bronya's value will go through the roof. Sparkle's light cone is also good on her, but I think it's equally as good on Bronya. Okay, so that was nice and positive. I tried my best to come up with a way to salvage Sparkle, to use Sparkle, and I think I really found a good, efficient way to do so. But at this point in the video, you still might not be completely sold on Sparkle being worse than Bronya. Let me just bring up these facts, okay? Oh, and before I do that, I just wanted to say that if you really want skill points, if you're really struggling with skill points somehow, just run Passerby of Wandering Cloud. It's literally free. You farm it in a relic domain. You don't have to use Jade for it. Or just run this on any support and it will kind of replace Sparkle already. It's completely fine. The final fact I want to bring up is this. Sincerely, Sparkle is a terrorist. She's not good for the community. Just look at her in the Trailblaze mission. No spoilers, but she does pretty messed up stuff. She played with our feelings and played with a lot of things that she shouldn't have messed with. So my feelings are hurt. This is very sad. And I don't think she's a good role model for anyone. We shouldn't be investing in a character with such bad morals and such nefarious intentions like her. Even if she's cute, I don't think this is something we should prioritize. On the other hand, Bronya is just prettier and cuter in every single way, and that's why, even though she's also a very, very respectable member in Belobog, she is the Supreme Guardian, she has a lot of responsibility and she's very capable. I think this is why Bronya is, at the end of the day, better than Sparkle. Without a doubt. Also, just look at those eyes. She's so cute. Just look at her. Just look at her. Ah, so cute. So nice. Oh. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. At the end of the day, do I recommend pulling Sparkle? Probably not. Just pull Bronya. And yeah, just do more damage to the enemies and you won't have a problem. That is pretty much it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I'm just doing this to help spread awareness. Feel free to share the video around and subscribe because I have an interesting idea for a Sparkle guide when she releases. So look forward to it. Until then, peace.